All right, everybody, welcome along to the first beeline of the downhill season. We have just wrapped things up here in Bielsko-Biała. We have been pretty soggy, we've been snowed on, there's been wind, and that is just us in the studio. So you can only imagine what's been going on up on that hill. The start hut looks like a beautiful Christmas cake at one point earlier on in the day, and that was what it looked like when some of the elite women took to their runs. Let's see the highlights from the girls.
The first round of the UCI Downhill World Cup in 2025 got off to a pretty frosty start in Bielsko-Biała in Poland. The American national champion Anna Newkirk, freshly signed to Frameworks Racing, was one of the first of the riders to really put down a run in the elite women's category. This surf down the really steep final section in Sturk Bike Park would be enough to keep things upright and get her into the not so hot seat. Behind her though, at the top, chaos reigned. The snow was falling as Nina Hoffmann, the German from the Santa Cruz Syndicate, left the start hop. Hoffmann's run initially would suffer a move away from her, but she clung on, kept fighting, and would be rewarded with a second place on the hot seat. Good enough for first place once all was said and done behind Newkirk's second. Nina Hoffmann on the hunt for another UCI Downhill World Cup win this season, as was this woman, Tani Seagrave. Whilst everyone else's splits were growing and growing, the British rider absolutely destroyed the track here in Sturk Mountain Resort to clock yet another UCI Downhill World Cup win on board the brand new prototype Orbea for FMD Racing, the bike's first competitive outing, clocking yet another win for Seagrave. 11 career UCI Downhill World Cup victories for the British rider, and a statement of intent to start her 2025 season. Seagrave goes fastest with a 3:34.34 to take the win. The UCI World Cup overall title holder was still at the top of the track at this point. Valentina Hohl, the Austrian, double title holder from last season, reigning UCI Downhill World Champ. She crashed out early here last time out, kept the rubber side down in Sturk this time, but just couldn't match the fire and the energy of Tani Seagrave. Hohl would end the day in 5th place. You win titles on your bad days in this sport, and maybe, just maybe, Valentina Hohl will be content with a bit of damage limitation on what was a really tricky start to the season. Seagrave takes the win ahead of Newkirk, Hoffmann, Balanche and Hohl, the top 5. Then Scarzy, Cabaru, Hemstreet, Baumann, Miriam Nicole rounding out the top 10. Top step went to Tani Seagrave and that brand new Orbea. Plenty more to come in a couple of weeks when the series heads to Ludenvielle in France, and when it does, it'll be Seagrave in the overall points leaders jersey. 80 points to the good ahead of Anna Newkirk from Frameworks Racing.
Tani Seagrave putting down quite an amazing run, really, particularly given the conditions, particularly given everything she's fought back from over the course of her career. Her 10th World Cup win, Charlie Murray. What did you make of it?
She stood she stood out above the rest of the competition today. Just I think she's riding with confidence. She's had a really good off-season and a good season last year building, and she just said she's as happy and healthy as she's ever been. So that we just saw that in her riding. She got off the brakes, leaned into the corners, trusted the bike, and yeah, just attacked from top to bottom.
How hard is it to do that in these, like when it's absolutely chucking it down?
It's tough
Trust
in the
the
mud.
bike, I mean, particularly.
Yeah, you can't respect the mud too much. You have to show it who's boss. And she rode a really committed ride. She looked like she took the race out like she wanted to win, and she wasn't being too cautious. And when you commit and you have good technique, most times it works out.
Yeah, and it did today. And she, afterwards, we talked to her, Josh, and she was like, happy to look ahead to the rest of the season, happy to say, right, I'm here, and I'm here to win it, looks like. The whole thing.
From last year, she's backed herself. She's got a brand new bike underneath her, development bike, a prototype bike, and to come here for round one, as tough as it could be, and come out with a performance like that. Tani's not shy of a podium. She knows how to win, but it doesn't get much tougher than that. It was literally dumping with snow at the top. When they rode the track earlier in the week, it was dry. Unknown, was the bike going to perform today? We didn't exactly know. It's a brand new platform underneath her. She's been on the old platform, not the old platform, but been on the same bike for a little while now. A huge result to step up, especially at the end of the day.
Yeah, we're getting this sideways rain that's coming at us right now, but, you know, take it up a few hundred meters and imagine that. I mean, probably takes you guys back a bit, doesn't it? Or not even back. It takes you into thoughts and memories of beautiful scenes that you've been a part of.
What is beautiful?
what does this compare to what we saw today, Charlie, in terms of what you've had in your career?
Well, yesterday we raced in similar conditions, and on Thursday we had probably 10 centimetres of snow at the top of our courses for our practice. So it doesn't have to take me back too far, really, to have similar conditions. And I just remember feeling cold and stiff as a board and just hard to relax and enjoy it when everything doesn't want to work. Your hands don't want to work, your lungs don't want to work.
Well, it was only last year. We raced the first ever Enduro and E-Enduro World Championships in Valdefassa, and they had to blow the snow off the tracks the day before.
With like a leaf blower?
With a leaf blower, of flames, just to open the tracks up. I mean, you know, we're whinging down here because we're cold and wet and the riders, but think about the crew up there building the track, the marshals out there on the side of the course, and the biggest credit to the spectators. They were up there still yipping and yahooing and loving it. Good job, Poland. Well done.
The spectators are absolutely unbelievable. We had G. Atherton in the studio as well, who we'll hear from at some point, and he got a little model bike given to him by one of the spectators. It was absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, they've been incredible. What do you reckon? What's your favourite worst conditions that you've been out in?
Seeing the shots of the snow at the start gate reminded me of Leo Gang World Champs in 2020.
Right.
I remember for that race, like warming up was such a hard thing. It was so cold, it was snowing at the top. They had a small tent where the riders were, and they called me out for my start. Like, you're next. I got out, there's like 6 minutes to go. I was like, you called me way too soon. I'm going back in the tent. Let me know when there's 1 minute to go.
Did the tent make that much difference? I guess it does. You're
It
trying
had
to
some
just
heaters
stay.
and stuff going, but
Okay.
it's just, yeah. I mean, the riders are normally tense and nervous. Is like they put the past 6 months of training into today, and then to add this weather to it, it just makes tensions pretty high.
The crucial point is keeping your hands dry, isn't it, Charlie, if you can?
Yeah, I mean, we often run dish gloves over top of our mountain bike gloves.
Like for washing up?
Yeah, like washing up gloves, a few sizes too big, and then that keeps your hands relatively warm and your gloves dry.
Right.
So your gloves get wet and you get wind chill, which you do when you're going 30 or 40 k's an hour down this course, then your hands are useless and you can't feel the brakes, you can't control the bike, and it starts to go downhill pretty quickly, metaphorically.
In a bad way.
That's a good thing.
Oh, Charlie, how's your stand-up career going? Tani Seagrave was the woman who managed the conditions and everything around them the best today. Let's hear from your first World Cup winner this season.
Tani, congratulations. What a way to start your season with a statement run. It was almost like it was dry out there for you.
I mean, I did kind of set off thinking that way, but because of the conditions, my brakes weren't working very well, so I think that kind of helped, to be honest. I was like, well, I guess they're just going this fast.
With the conditions, how pleased are you with how you manage things like your brakes out there? Because you really have to adapt in the moment, don't you?
Like, yeah, it's just the conditions, they're like that, and you just got to make the best of it. So I kind of kept pumping the brake to make it work, and I think I had a little sketchy moment at the end because I kind of forgot to do that, but yeah, glad I managed to put it together.
In terms of your setup, did you have to change anything whilst you were at the top? Because it was snowing up there as well, wasn't it?
It was snowing, it was pretty cold, but other than keeping one up top, we didn't really change too much from like this morning or yesterday. It's been pretty grim all weekend.
Now, we know you came third in the overall last season, and it sounds like you're very hungry this year. I know it's a bit early to be talking about that, but some vital points today.
I don't think it's too early. Like, I feel the healthiest I have been, and I'm back like from a series of horrible injuries, and I've had a couple of years to get back into it, and I'm ready to give it my all again.
Hungrier than ever?
Yeah, for sure.
Love that. Well done, Tane.
Thank you.
Yeah, she's not wrong. It has been pretty grim all week. So the snow was falling up in the start hut for the women's elite race, and after that had been won by Tani. Next up came the men's elite. What would the conditions remain like for them, and how would it go?
Amidst the snow and, frankly, absolutely blizzard-like conditions at the top of the opening UCI Downhill World Cup race of the season, Amaury Piron was extremely busy. The Frenchman had been in the wars during the qualifying sessions of Saturday, managed to put them all behind him, and was one of the early pace setters in Stirk Mountain Resort. Piron, 2 victories last season in very muddy, challenging conditions. Fancied he could go at this one and would stay on the not so hot seat for a sizable chunk of time. But it was Oisin O'Callaghan, the double O, the Irishman, who would set about an absolutely superb start to the season. O'Callaghan was perfect amongst the slop and the ruts. Already a UCI Downhill World Cup winner back in Snowshoe, West Virginia, a couple of seasons ago. O'Callaghan was on the hunt for his second win, and maybe, just maybe, was thinking that he may have done enough as he headed towards the finish line in Bielsko-Biała. The YT mob liked what they had seen from their young Irish star, as did his new teammate Andy Cole. And then there was one rider left at the top of the hill, the reigning UCI Downhill World Cup overall title winner, Loic Bruni, knew that nothing but perfection would do today on his brand new prototype specialized gravity racing machine. Bruni, who had won the opening round in Fort William last time out, was all too aware of how important a good start to the year was. He made his job slightly easier by winning the Q1 session on Saturday, but made sure that the job was done with an absolute masterclass in perfect downhill riding. Managed to hold on to things towards the bottom and would get ahead of Oisin O'Callaghan by just over a tenth of a second. An Irish rider had beaten him here last season in Ronan Dunn. Bruni did fancy letting it happen again. Laurent Delorme, the specialised gravity racing team, went wild. But it was Bruni, O'Callaghan from Piron, Richie Rude, stellar performance in 4th place. Thibaut Deprella for his new team Rogue Racing, SR Sun Tour, rounded out the top 5. Bruni, though, took to the top step, took the points and took the win. Bruni, O'Callaghan, Piron, your top 3 from Bielsko-Biała.
Loic Bruni delivering a big win for the first downhill race of the season. It feels like we've seen that before, but the man who won last year's overall title is looking pretty scary. He thought he's not really at 100% out there. If he can build up to it over the course of the season, well, there'll be something pretty special. I have a stat for you about the men's winners of the first World Cup of the season. They often don't go on to win the title. It's only happened 5 times before. Of course, Charlie Loic Bruni has done that. What kind of marker is he laying down here?
I think it's awesome for his confidence. He didn't know where he was at. He had that collarbone injury recently, so to come in and win the first race, for him, that's just going to help strengthen his mental game, and he's only going to get stronger physically too. So, yeah, you'd be pretty crazy to bet against Bruni for the overall, but hey, it's the first race, so we don't know. Okay,
all right. He's setting the tone, but we can't necessarily read too much into it. Are you on board with that?
I think so. I mean, Loic, the past couple of years, has gotten a points lead when he's won the championship and then managed it after that, so he likes to start off strong. He probably didn't have everything perfect today, but it was enough to win. Another thing to consider too is he's got a brand new bike. It's a new bike Specialized has been working on all winter. I'm sure it took a lot of his time to get it ready, and it's probably, they're going to learn more as they go, so the bike's only going to get better.
How involved would he be in the development of that bike? Is he someone who really likes to engage with that kind of technical stuff?
He'll be 100% involved with it. I mean, the bike's made for him, so he's got to be the final seal of approval.
And that team in particular have a freedom to choose what they want. I mean, they are supported by Specialized, but Laurent has built that program with the freedom and flexibility to pick the parts, the design, the bits and pieces that's going to help performance, which is a huge part, and a huge kudos to Laurent and the way he's built that team there. And Loic's only going to get better and better. He won last year, but if there's anyone that's probably in a space now that we haven't seen in a couple of years, it's Loic Bruni. I mean, I think the stat that not many people have won over the last couple of years probably shows the diversity in the field, but now Loic is in a space that we haven't seen in many years before. There is a new generation coming, but do they have the same consistency as Loic? Loic's won a lot. Has he been as consistent? No, but the last couple of seasons he's getting a lot more consistent as we progress, and a scenario like this where he only wins at his claimed 85%, that should be a warning sign to the rest of the field for sure.
Yeah, Charlie, I see you nodding away there. Obviously, you're part of that team.
Yeah. I was talking to the whole team before, and Laurent and the boys, and like Josh said, they just are prepared for everything. I think they put in more work collectively than everyone else. I mean, it's easy for me to say that, but they have such a strong network. They've been working together for 5 or 10 years with most of those staff on the team, and he even had his boys up on the track there at the crucial moment when he knew he'd be feeling tired, cheering him on, encouraging him to pedal harder. So that sort of stuff, you don't see every team up there doing that.
And that team is working on their own tyres, not their own branded tyres, but Specialized have their own somewhat chemist, engineer, warehouse now, working on compounds and rubber and carcass. So that's a big thing. We've heard that a lot with Emery Pierron the last couple of years. Maxxis have a brand new tyre out and about. Michelin have a compound that's phenomenal in conditions like this. So now for Specialized to step up with their own tyres, the same tyres you can buy, it's pretty unheard of, and it's a big deal. It's a big deal for that team. They went for the Hillbilly this weekend, that mud tyre, and it shows that it's working. To have an off-the-shelf tyre to use and win a World Cup, that's truly impressive, and there must be something cooking over there for sure, and it just adds to the whole level of performance that team is currently providing.
It's sick. I love that you could just, in theory, get out there on their tyres as an amateur. It's just like, I mean, if you have enough pennies and you keep saving them, in the end you can.
They're not that expensive, and the fact that you can
but
buy
the whole setup, I mean, I think that's pretty cool.
I'll donate you some tyres, Kate. Yeah, you can have a set of Hillbillies if you like.
Yes, we've got this. I would absolutely love that. Yeah, we've got this on
the tyres. It's only tyres that will get you down the hill. That's it.
We've got this on tape now. I love it. You mentioned about Q2, right? So this was the first race of the first World Cup race of the season. That was a big change. The key point about that is no protected riders. At the start of the weekend, we didn't know who was going to be on the roster for the final, and that is new. It was exciting, wasn't it? Having Q1, first of all, you could get in there and you could claim your place in the final. If you didn't, you had to go again, and then you had to finish, if you're female, top 5, if you're male, top 10. The tension was, it was from this side, it was pretty fun.
Yeah, I think the feedback from the fans has been awesome. Everyone loved it. I loved it. It was so exciting. And for the riders, they got 2 chances if they didn't get through in that Q1. But as a team manager, Nick, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on it.
I think it gives everybody's happy, right? Like if you're rewarded if you do well in Q1, you don't have to go again, and if you don't, you've got another shot at it. So you're not just cut from the final. It is hard on staff, like mechanics, everybody, to turn the bike around, especially in a mud race like this, to turn everything around and go back up and do the whole job over again. It's pretty tough. I think a lot of teams had several riders in that position. So yeah, it's a stress on the program, but it seems like everybody's making it happen.
We'll look at Atherton. Charlie Hatton came down the hill with a crash, I think he took out a shifter, maybe towards the bottom, so he had to go reset, rebuild that bike, then go again. Then he crashed again, so it's an extra level of stress, extra level of pressure. In the Canyon pits, Troy Brosnan and Luca Shaw were giggling at each other. Luca made it, was happy days, and he was like, dude, I do not want to be in your position. Troy went out, won Q2, but you got to remember, winning Q2, it's cool, but you're only 21st. So to fight, you're fighting just to make the final now. So yeah, you can celebrate that win, but you're just surviving, which is crazy. Jackson Goldstone came into the season. We almost didn't see him race today. He almost did not qualify due to that. So I think it's served as a bit of a warning to the field that you've got to bring your A game from the gun. Someone like Richie Rude, Martin Mays qualified straight through in Q1, which shows the hard work that they've put in. Whereas some of the other riders, Loris, didn't do too good. Jordan Williams was just off the cuff, so great result usually, but now they've got to go that little bit more to go straight through, or plan for Q2, plan to do that second run. It's a lot. We had 10, was it 10, maybe 12
more,
World Cup winners in Q2.
In the men, yeah.
So if we almost had 12 World Cup winners that were not going to make the final. Crazy. That's an epic stat, as you mentioned before, and quite an interesting way that the season's going to develop. I think they're going to have to change their strategy a little bit. Bit of anxiety, bit of stress, bit more pressure, and that's what we need, more pressure. And it's going to be some exciting racing to wrap up the rest of the season, or to continue the rest of the season.
Yeah, Nika, because from what it means, as well as Josh is pointing out, is that some of those riders in the bottom, in the first who are going first 10 in the race, you know, they are your big names, the ones you'd expect to be competing at the top. How does that change your mentality if you're going off the hill so early?
Well, it was gnarly to watch. I mean, we saw the first three riders look like could be the podium.
Yeah.
It's tough because you might get a different condition. The course might get better or worse. You can't control that. You have to do your best run. But yeah, I think just going in the Q2 is stressful for those guys, especially yesterday in a situation where there were so many good riders in it. They guys that had mistakes like Amory Pirion, like if he has to go to Q2, that's one spot of the 10 that he's taken.
Yes.
So it's really, a
no
pressure cooker situation.
Q1, you have a safety net.
Yeah.
That pressure cooker in the first one, I mean, it's there, but you've got a safety net. You can still go to Q2. If you miss Q2, there's 10 spots. There's 5 girls that are going to make it. 10 spots. So if you come down the hill early and you're 7th or 8th, you're in trouble. There's 10 people, and that's separated by just a couple of seconds. So the level has lifted, and it's not taking anything away from riders who just missed out, like Charlie Hatton. Kaya Hearn finished 37th outright, so
Reece
he just missed out. Reece Wilson,
Monica
Henry Kerr.
Harasnik in the women. Yeah, so many huge names who didn't make it through.
An epic result, but now they need to reset, and they need to step up now. Bludenfell is in 2 weeks.
It's coming, and it's live with us. We're going to be there. Someone who completed a perfect weekend, though, who was first in Q1 and then first on the podium, was Loic Bruni. Let's hear from him.
Super Bruni strikes again. You came second here last season. You weren't going to settle for that today, though, were you?
No, last season was a bit stingy with finishing so close to the win. I didn't think I had it in me, with the off-season a bit complicated and the weather being so far from my favorite conditions, but I never really complained. I just kept on riding, had good feeling. The bike was working really well. We had some last-minute changes on the Odin suspensions, and I think we did well to do that because the track was so rough. It was really sticky and physical, so I'm absolutely pasteurized. But I'm super happy to start the season this way.
That was as close to perfection as you could have come today. You really didn't put a foot wrong. How aware were you of what was happening before you took to that track?
To me, it was not so perfect. Obviously, it's never as easy, but it was really rough, and I was getting caught off guard in some of the braking, so I would lose a bit of exit speed in some corners. But I knew the track was going to get stickier because of the rain stopping. So that was going to be a bit of a mix between maybe a bit more grip but slower rolling. So I just had to give everything. I had 2 sections where I was a little bit mad at myself, just braking a bit too much, but my boys were on the sprints in the last traverse, headwind, sticky as, so I gave everything I had and it was enough, so hell yeah.
You mentioned it's been a tricky pre-season. How has preparations been ahead of this race?
We've been crushing it, and before my injury, we've been going to America to specialize, developing the new bike. Like, we're really close to production, so we're super happy with it. But I had some bad luck, let's say, with a big crash and back-to-back. So when I came back after that, 6 weeks later, I hit a tree super hard, re-injured myself. So I was a little bit all over the place around that time, super stressed out that I wouldn't be able to make it for Poland. But the last few weeks I've been cranking. I've been really trying to put on the work, and I didn't think I had it in me. The goal was to see where I was, and we're good. So I'm really happy.
You're now level with Nicola Villio on 44 podiums. What does that mean to you?
Nico is one of my biggest idols. Podiums doesn't really matter. He has way more wins, way more titles, so we'll try to get close, but it's still a really good statistics to put in my resume, and let's try to keep on doing more.
Cracking start. Well done today.
Thank you.
Yeah, Loic Bruni adding to his resume yet again here in Bielsko-Biała. And it was just quite a sight to watch, to be honest. An amazing race day, a great way to start the downhill World Cup season. We have loved every minute of it, even if our toes are pretty cold at this point. And of course, Charlie Murray, you've been racing this weekend, and now we're getting you to stand up and hold umbrellas and talk for ages. So thank you so much for that. The next race up for these guys and girls is Ludenviel. What do you think we're going to see there?
Hopefully not too much rain. Last year was also wet and pretty cold. So yeah, I would love to have a warm week, a warm race, and a warm race for the downhill too. That's what I hope. But in terms of
priorities, good to hear it.
In terms of the riders, I think, you know, the 2 winners, Tane and Loic from this week, they will have the target on their back for sure.
And how will you be preparing with your team, Nico?
Yeah, so we've got a week off before Ludenviel. We're going to be in Andorra. It's not too far from Ludenviel and a good track to ride. So we'll be out there together doing some riding, training, testing, whatever we can do to help the riders feel comfortable for the next race.
Yeah, and of course, big result for Anna Newkirk in today's race as well, her second place finish. And I know, Josh, you just between races, you just spent the time writing poetry and composing arias, and it'll be more of the same again, I imagine.
That's right. My daughter and I have started knitting, so she's going to teach me how to purl knit. Apparently, I can only normally knit, whatever that means, and she got upset that Daddy didn't teach her how to purl knit. So we're going to continue the scarf making, but we do go to Novo Mesto. We've got the next round of our XCO and XCC World Cups in Novo Mesto, which is always an iconic venue, and then back to Ludenviel that we've had plenty of great races over the years. The downhill's been spectacular the last couple of seasons. Hopefully ASA can hold it together for the juniors. So it's going to be a big couple of weeks. So I'll get knitting, continue that poetry, and then get stuck into some cross-country Carlson on course previews.
Okay, wicked. So, Charlie, if I'm getting tyres from you, do I get a scarf off you and your...
I'll ask Remy. Yep, she's. We might be able to knit you a new headpiece there. Yep, we're working on it.
That would be outstanding. All right, we'll send all of those things in, and we'll look forward to seeing you for the Beeline next time, or on our live coverage. Do join us, as Josh says, in Novo Mesto and then Ludenviel as well. We got race weekends back to back, and we can't wait to see you.